Okay, so maybe I should intro. Yeah.
Okay.
So looking at this camera, there's that middle camera. Yeah, that's the wide. That's the wide. Okay.
What do I look at?
So you're going to be looking at this one.
I look at this one.
Yeah, yeah. And then from this camera, you can see you right there.
I know.
Yeah, if you want to, so if you want to look directly, but to make it more natural, just look at me, really. Unless you want to say something super direct, like to the camera. But yeah, just as natural as you want.
Got it.
Yeah. But let me welcome everybody to the Ground Hire podcast. We are in episode number 3 with Dante Aragon from EMCC. Dante, how long have you been a part of the Ground Hire?
So I've been a member since Ground Hire was not Ground Hire. It was actually is it
C12.
C12?
Yeah.
So back in 2009 or 8.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Ground Hire was formed in 2006 as C12, and then we moved to Summit Trek. Yeah, and from Summit Trek to Higher Ground, and then now fast forward, we moved to a transition from for-profit to non-profit, and that was in 2020 or 2021, was it? Yeah, and so now we are the Ground Hire. So the Ground Hire is an executive board for faith-based Christian business owners. So in today's talk with Dante, just want to pull out, some of the experiences that he's had since 2009 as a member. So we want to talk about some of the personal growth that he's experienced, some of the business growth, as well as the spiritual. So yeah, we're going to be asking some questions today, and I'm sure we're going to get some very interesting stories that's going to encourage a lot of our viewers and listeners out there. So before we get right into it, tell me about your family.
All right. Got 5 kids.
5? Oh, I thought you had 4 kids.
It ranged from 31 down to 14.
Wow.
No, wait, sorry. 11.
11?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a 20-year spread.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So go down the list. Started from the oldest, boy, girl. What's their name?
So Danielle is the oldest. Then Chad, Sean. Those 3 are from my first marriage.
Yep.
And then second marriage is from my wife now is Shara, and it's Jude and Luke.
Okay. Wow. And your wife's name is Shara, you said?
Shara.
Okay. Does Shara work with you in the business?
She does. Yeah.
Ah, okay. And what role does she play?
She's helping with the finance and payroll.
Ah, okay. So she's the real boss then.
All the time.
Right? Yeah. Good. Okay. And so tell me a little bit more about the Ground Hire. You've been a part of the organization since 2009, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, how many years is that? That is 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Long time. So you've seen the ups, you've been part of the downs and all the transitions and changes. Yeah.
And I'm part of the transition too.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So you've recently come on to the board, right? You're one of the board of directors.
Yes.
So tell me about your experience now coming in as a board member.
It kind of changed my perspective on things because I would just attend, but now understanding the whole complex of the organization and, the funding and things like that.
Yeah.
It changed it. It brought a different perspective on my end.
Right.
And seeing how it impacts the other, the members.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
If Ground Hire would disappear, it would be like, okay, how are we going to get these, the spiritual growth and the business growth that we've been getting in all these years. So
so you've personally seen lots of members come through the Ground Hire, and you've seen the incredible growth and changes and all the great things that's come with being a member of Ground Hire.
Right.
So for yourself personally, what would you say is one thing that really stands out to you where the Ground Hire has helped you, and whether that's personal or business or in your spiritual walk?
So I've been a Christian all my life, right? As a Catholic and then non-denominational. But going to church, I thought that was what a Christian is supposed to be. And it was until an experience during a business transaction or a business project that helped me understand what a true Christian's supposed to be.
Yep.
And it changed my world around in terms of transforming me to the person that I've become. And I look back now and I look at the old person that I used to be. A lot of pride, a lot of self-reliance, making my own decisions and, bad decisions, but we think it's logical. But now it's more of depending on God and sometimes it's illogical. So
you're talking about a specific instance that a specific event in your life.
Yes.
That really sounds like it was a catalyst to you in your transformational, in your spiritual transformation, even as you're understanding what it is to be a Christian. So dive into that story a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more of the details.
All right. So what I call transformation is that I did not really know what a Christian is supposed to be like. I didn't understand what the word love is in God's term. Right? So here's a story. I had a project back in 2009, and I partnered with a fellow Christian brother, and he helped us get that project because we could not bond it. It was too big. It was doing all the community college, doing an energy project for the 4 community colleges. Halfway through the project, everything's going well, and CPA asked me who's going to be paying the taxes, GET, and I said, well, we're going to pay our own taxes. And he said, well, make sure you check that out. Yeah, and come to find out that there's a misunderstanding, and I thought I was right, but the misunderstanding was in the value of $250,000.
So $250,000, that was in taxes that you guys are supposed to pay?
GET taxes.
Yeah. Wow. And that was the dispute.
That was a dispute.
Okay.
Right. And who was supposed to pay for it?
Yeah.
And we went through, thought we can resolve it. Met personally, go over documents, went to mediation with Norman, and it wasn't getting resolved. And then I was like, man, how can we fix this? And I had a one-on-one with Norman, and I got anxieties now, right? Like, do we take him to court? I don't want to do that. He's a brother. But Norman challenged me on my one-on-one, and he said, there's a purpose for you going through this. And I'm like, what purpose, man? I'm right.
Right.
But so anyway, he said, there's a purpose, and I think you should seek him. Why? What the purpose is. So one night I was doing my devotions, praying God, lifting the situation to God, and God placed it in my heart and said, love him. Love the other person. Even though he may seem to be your enemy right now, love your enemy. And before you decide on take him to court, go and make it right. And that's what the Bible says. Go and make it right. So those 2 things just kind of stood out. And I'm like, how am I going to resolve this, right? So I called a brother and I said, hey, if don't mind, can we meet? And we met at this Starbucks and in downtown, and we sat down, and before we even started, I said, can we pray? I'm just having a hard heart towards you, and I know that's not right, and God wants us to work on this this relationship. And what's more important than money is relationship, right? So we prayed, and then the next few words that came out of my mouth, I will always remember because it transformed me.
Wow.
And I didn't know what I was saying at that time, but I said it.
Yeah.
And I said, brother, however you want to handle this dispute, this $250,000 issue, I leave it up to you. All I want is for what God wants us to do, and just keep this relationship. And I came out of that meeting and walking out, and I'm like, wow, I just feel this burden lifted.
Right.
I like a peace, but yet in my mind, I'm like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
We're a new company at that time, and we would not survive, that
$250,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shortly after that, I get a phone call, and it was a, former partner who initially invested in the startup of the company.
Yeah.
EMCC. Right. So I get a phone call, and he said, "Hey Dante, we need to resolve that, on the seed money." And I'm like, "Okay, how much is that?" It's about $230,000.
Jeez. Yeah.
So now I'm looking at $500,000. Where am I gonna get that? Right. And I prayed about it, and God gave me this thought, right? And it's amazing how he just put some thoughts in my head, and I never thought about it. So he said, prepare this document. And I prepared this document, and I looked up all the projects that we developed for just the other company that he had. So EMCC got projects, and the other company executed it. So I sat down with this person, and a really tough businessman, really serious. He hardly smiled, and presented the paper to him. We met at the same Starbucks in downtown.
Yeah.
That's where he asked me to meet him. So beginning to hate this Starbucks.
Right.
But anyway, so I presented that document, and he asked me, "What is this?" And I said, "This is a projects that we brought to your other company, and all I'm asking for is commission." And he said, "Well," grab the paper. He looks at it, and he's like, "Oh, did I agree to this?" And I go, "No." Do you have it in writing? And I said, "No." Put my head down, and I thought he was gonna just rip it, but looked at it and marked it up. I said, "Okay, here, I don't agree to this portion." And I look at the paper, and he accepted everything except $15,000.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, wow. Got the paper ran. So, I just said, "Oh, thank you." And, walked away, and I just like, oh, that's how God works, But I didn't know the miracle until a few months later when somebody who works for that person that just relieved me of this debt, he deserved his compensation and bonus and things like that. And he called me up and said, I need to, if you could help me find another job. I'm like, whoa, you're doing really good for this company. He goes, "Yeah, I'm owed profit sharing, but when I asked for it, the person said, I'm not going to get it. You're going to get it when you die."
Whoa,
kind of thing. It's like, whoa, is that the same person?
Yeah.
It's like, then I look back and like, God softened the heart of this person, because I softened my heart towards the person that I had a dispute with.
Right.
That in itself showed me how God works. That when you love your brother or when you love others, God works. God will show you how he
how he operates.
He will operate.
Yeah.
How he operates.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. That's incredible. Okay, so let me get this story right. So you had a project with another partner.
We had to partner with this other company.
Yeah, you partner with
the bonding. Yeah.
Okay, so you partner with another company to get the bonding.
Yeah.
And the dispute was $250,000 in GET in GE Texas, right? And so it came down to who's going to pay for it.
Yes.
And in this process, as many people can imagine, there's a lot of tension, anxiety. Who's going to pay for it, right? Where are we going to get this money from? And so tensions are high, relationships starting to wane a bit. But through this process, being a part of Ground Hire and meeting one-on-one with Norman, he was able to coach you through and to challenge you and say, hey, instead of taking the regular route of just, taking this guy to court and, fighting for this $250,000, soften your heart and see how God would want to make himself known through this process. And so you meet at that Starbucks.
So it's the obedience. It takes that obedience to do it.
Right.
Because it's so hard.
Right.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah. It's one thing to say, yes, I'm going to lay my pride down. But to be sitting there at that Starbucks and to say what you said, right, brother, however you want to do this, I'm happy. Or not happy,
I'll leave it
but
up to you.
I leave it up to you.
I wasn't happy about it.
No, not happy. But you are submissive to the will of the Lord, and basically you laid your pride down, and you said,
exactly.
Yeah, you laid your pride down, and you said, hey, the more important thing is relationship. Money's not everything, and it is $250,000, and I don't know how this is gonna work out, but I prioritize not just my relationship with you, but my relationship with the Lord, and he's called me to love you, and this is how it looks. Yeah. So that's awesome. Okay. And so fast forward from there, you're able to get commission from another organization that didn't have in writing to pay you commission, that didn't have in writing that you were going to be owed this amount. And that guy, being a very hard businessman, softened his heart, and you're able to get some compensation from that.
Yeah. But I think God softened his heart.
Right.
That was the key.
Yeah, and that was it. And
then God placed it on my head, in my mind, to ask for it. Because I wasn't thinking about it.
Right. And why would you ask for it? I mean, you didn't know that nothing was in writing.
Yeah.
It wasn't documented. You're talking about a lot of money. Why would he do it?
And somebody else later on brought it to my attention and said, when I was sharing my story, this brother was like, imagine if you actually went to court, right? Now you got to prepare for that. You would never have thought about doing this, asking for a commission. And I'm like, that's so true.
Right.
Because my mind would have been filled with anger, hate, and preparation to win the battle, right? Versus leaving it up to the Lord.
And so through this process where you experienced quite a challenging time in your business, right? And in your personal walk, you had Norman to help coach you through. And that's where you really feel like you understood what it means to be a Christian, and you could really walk that out. Yeah. And so that was in 2009?
That was about 10 or 11.
Okay.
Because it was a year and a half into the project.
Right.
So it was about that time.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So there's another story that you mentioned where you had to eat the cost of something. Another situation where you had a big project, right? And it came down to, well, who's going to pay for this? What was it? $30,000. Who's going to pay for this extra $30,000 all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Right. And that's still a lot of money.
It is.
Yeah. So tell me more about that story. Share with me, what was the situation and what ended up happening?
Okay. So you would think after experiencing the 250, right?
Yeah.
And then I experienced other issues, about this lesser amount. But this one I think is a really good story to tell. And this was only approximately 30 grand, right? So you would think it's easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, right.
But it's not.
No. 30 grand, still 30 grand.
It depends where we are in the business, what year it is, right? Like, So anyway, we're doing this energy project on Kaneohe Marine Corps Base. And my son, Chad, he was a project manager at that time. And he came to my office one morning and said, "Hey, Dad, we missed some areas." And I said, "Okay, well, what do you mean?" Like, okay, there's several rooms on base that we didn't get to see because they didn't open it, so we didn't count those areas. He goes, "Well, then that's a change order, right?" And he goes, "No, they don't really like change orders, so we're gonna have to eat the cost." And I'm like, "Well, okay, what is the cost?" So he said about over 20 grand in material and over 10 grand in labor. And I said, "What? You gotta eat that? 30 grand?"
Yeah.
The first emotion starts, hair stands up and, like.
And this is your son.
And this is my son.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay.
So, we get irritated, a bit angry and disappointed, and went home, prayed about and talked to my wife, and she's so awesome. Whenever I share with her, she said, "God's gonna take care of it." And I prayed that night, and I lifted it up because I was developing this like irritation and anger. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but it's a big amount, and God placed it on my heart again. Have compassion over the situation. So how the situation was, Chad and this other person that supplied the material went and did the audit together. So they both kind of like in the missed it, right?
Yeah.
So the one that was supplying the material, he told Chad that we'll eat the cost of the material, and if you can just take care of the labor.
Okay.
So then I said, "Oh, okay, okay, that helps
lessen the blow a little bit.
Lessen the blow."
Yeah.
But when I prayed about it, God said, "No. Have compassion. Take care of it." And are you really talking to me about that, God?
Right.
You don't know if it's really God or you're making up myself. Making these words up.
Right.
But I just believe that was God placing it in my heart. So the next morning I went in. I told Chad, "Go tell John, this person to we'll eat the whole thing. We'll take care of it. We'll pay for the material. Also."
Yeah. So with this guy, okay, so you guys had 30 grand that needed to.
Oh, yes, slightly over, yeah.
Okay, so just a little bit over 30,000 that was missed in the initial audit. In the estimating of the project, right? And so 20,000 was for material, 10,000 was for the labor-ish. And this guy said, "Okay, we'll take care of the labor." But
no, take care of the material.
This guy said they'll take care of the material, but you felt God telling you to eat the entire cost. Yeah. Wow, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Especially if he's saying that he could do it.
Right.
Now, was this supplier, was he in a position to be able to do that?
So that's a story that I didn't know. Okay, and so after Chad told him that we're gonna eat the cost, I get a phone call from this person. And I wish I could say his name, but I didn't get authority to use his name. Earlier, I didn't give him a call or anything, so I don't want to use his name. But this person called me up and said, "Hey, you can't do that. That's a lot of money. You can't eat the whole thing. I told Chad I'm gonna take care of the materials, so let me do that." And I said, I'll call him Joe, okay?
Yeah.
Just for namesake.
Yeah.
I said, Joe, God placed it in my heart to just take care of this. And please don't try to convince me because you might.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So let's just go with it. Just go with me on this. And let's see what happens. God's going to provide. And I don't know if he was a Christian or not, And called me again. He goes, no, you can't do that. Nobody does that in this day and age.
Right.
I said, Joe, it's okay.
Yeah.
So, a day later, I get another phone call, and it's a distributor, and he found out what happened, and he said, "Hey, I heard what you did for Joe."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, well, okay." And I'm like, "Wow,
yeah,
nobody does that,
right?
This day and age." And I just want to say thank you because we really need to keep him in the business. And I didn't know, what I thought that person was doing really well.
Yeah.
He just started the business also. So
okay.
And I said, well, thank you for sharing that because I didn't know. Yeah. And then he said, if you buy the material through us, I can waive all the profits and fees and give you a cost. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Wow.
And then we hanged up.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, I get a call again from the same person. And he goes, thank you again for taking care of Joe.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a project coming up.
Yeah.
And we're invited and we need a partner. And we're thinking, since you're a really good partner with, Joe, that, we'd like to have you part of our team. And I said, of course, we'd love to help out. It's a $6.5 million project.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So we got that
Yeah.
contract.
Wow.
But the story is,
right.
Had I not obeyed what God wanted me to do and love and have compassion over Joe, this other person would not have heard the story, would not have called me,
right?
Because we didn't have a really good relationship with this other one, and now we do.
Yeah, right.
And so I would have missed out on that blessing.
Yeah.
But it was just being obedient to God. It was not trying to get money out of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, you didn't even know.
Yeah, I didn't even know. Right. Yeah. But I got to know Joe. And he told me his story, and he was going through struggles personally, business wise, and I kind of learned that he probably had to close the business down.
Wow. Yeah.
So to answer your question, he was not in a position to eat that cost.
Yeah. And so, in short, you took a $30,000 loss and God turned it into a $6.5 million gain for you guys' company. Amazing. How does that happen?
Obedience.
Right.
And it's so hard because when I was battling with that, I was like, oh, okay, I did this once before, right?
Yeah.
It worked out.
Right.
I guess I got to do it again and be obedient.
Yeah.
To what
and
God
it's not
wants.
that it gets easier.
It's not easy. Yeah.
Right. To lay that down.
So the main thing is loving another person. And that's what God calls us to do.
Right.
Is to love others.
Right.
Just as much as loving God, right?
Yeah.
Matthew 6:33, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. So there's a theme with these stories that you've shared where it's not about the money. And that's a cliche, right? Everybody says it's not about the money. It's not about the money. But when you owe $250,000, when you're saying, I will eat the cost of $30,000, right? You think about the money.
I do, yeah.
But in those situations, you were able to lay down the pride. You're able to give it up to God and say, hey, God, I trust the process. You know, I say it's not about the money, and I trust in you, and I'm going to prioritize the relationship. You're telling me to have compassion, you know, to eat the cost and to lay down all of these emotions and thoughts and feelings and my pride. And I'm just going to trust you. And through that process, you were able to turn the $250,000 GE taxes that you owed into a positive. You're able to take the $30,000, and it ended up becoming a $6.5 million job.
If I'm smiling now,
right,
because I know the outcome,
right?
But when I was faced with it, I was not smiling. You know, like there's anxiety, there's like worries. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Some lessons there.
Obedience is a hard thing to do, and I look back now and like all the other times I did not obey.
Yeah.
What blessing did I miss out on?
Right. And I think that's that's kind of the story with Ground Hire, right? Is that if you're going to be a part of Ground Hire, if you feel called to be a part of Ground Hire, right? Well, we're not going to be doing business in the same way. There's lots of other business groups you can be a part of, right? But what makes Ground Hire different? And it's situations like this, stories like this, where it's like, yes, you will grow your business if you join this organization, but you'll really grow more in your personal relationships with God, with your family. And that's really the more important thing. I mean, why do we work so hard? Why do we want to accumulate all of this wealth and money? It's to spend more time with our family, to spend more time with the people that we love.
Right.
That's the more important thing. And then in these situations, you were able to really go after that. And in hindsight, right, it all has worked out. Yeah.
So part of Ground Hire, you know, we have one-on-ones with Norman, right? And these one-on-ones last sometimes 2.5 hours,
right?
You know.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I was the only one. I was like, wow, this is going long today, Norman. Like,
yeah. And he throws some challenges out there, you know, for me to look at.
Right.
You know, when I was buying my company, outright from my partners, right? You know, I was like, wow, this guy doesn't deserve this much that he's asking for. And I didn't even tell Norman what the number was. And he goes, hey, if it's $1 million, pay it. And I'm like, $1 million? Where am I going to get $1 million? You know, are you crazy? You know, I'm just thinking in my mind, right? But I'm sitting in front of him and smiling, okay. But in my mind, I'm like, he goes, that's going to be the greatest decision you ever make.
Wow.
And no, it wasn't $1 million. It was a small fraction of that.
Right.
But, you know, it made me take away the anxiety that was going through and paying the amount, because I just felt like he didn't deserve it.
Right.
I did everything in the company. They were just silent. Right. And so when it happened, now I look back, you know, like, oh, that is the greatest thing that I ever did. Right.
And so you had Norman, you've been with Norman since 2009, doing one-on-ones with him. So speak to that a little bit. The one-on-one sessions that you've had with your coach, with Norman, what are some of the most valuable things that has come out of that?
Yeah, so many valuable things. But it really, I don't get this from my pastor, right? You don't get to have 2-hour one-on-one with your pastor. You go to church, you leave, right?
Right.
But Ground Hire, you got the monthly meeting, and then you know, you have the one-on-ones, right? And it's the one-on-ones where, you know, you really, he gets you to really think about things, you know, and a lot of challenges I get to share with him. Right.
Yeah.
Another story is we're doing this major project with a mainland company, but they have a local base here, and the company is Noresco, and we did a project with the Board of Water Supply.
Okay.
A lot of change orders that was occurring because it's all really old building.
Okay.
And these change orders was escalating. And so I told Norman, and I was like, man, I don't know how we're going to get this approved. He told me, well, go buy a ticket and go fly up to the mainland and go meet with this guy personally.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's some advice.
Yeah, exactly. He always tells you these things like,
right.
It's better to do it face to face, so okay. Now I'm like, do I do that? That's an expense now that I gotta look at, right?
Yeah.
Then I get a phone call from that person. He goes, oh, by the way, I'm gonna be on island. And I go, oh, great, can we meet?
Yeah. Right.
So we met. Right, we had lunch, and I shared about all the challenges we got, and the guy said, hey, put all that thing together and we'll get it approved.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That was about $200,000.
Jeez. Yeah. Right. And so your one-on-ones with Norman, he'll give different nuggets like that.
Yeah.
He'll give you advice, whether it's about your business or personal relationships, different situations. Yeah. He's been able to hold your hand through all of this. And I like what you said earlier. This isn't something that you get at church, right? This is not like the norm where every month you are meeting one-to-one with your pastor, for 1.5, 2.5, 3 hours, and it's set. Every month you're like, for sure you're going to meet with them and you're going to talk about everything from life stuff to business stuff and everything in between. And I feel like that's maybe even the most powerful thing about Ground Hire is that relationship that you have with your coach, with your mentor, where it's such a consistent meeting every month for 2.5 hours where you're going to go deep on these things. And you can talk at length about, what are you reading through the Bible? What is God speaking to you about? What are you going through personally? And a lot of times I feel like the church or pastors, they don't have time. They have so many people that they have to pour into, but having a formal program where you can join, where it's like, hey, if you join the Ground Hire, you will have a one-to-one meeting every month with your coach. You will have a monthly owners meeting with other like-minded businessmen and women. That's what you're committing to. That's what you're going to get. And in that simple process, you've been able to grow your business. You've been able to grow your personal relationships and your walk with God. So I feel like that has really set apart Ground Hire, and that's why it's been around for coming up on 20 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. We go through challenges. We're human, right? And we make business decisions every day and we get caught up into it. But a couple of times when I feel like I'm too busy to go to Ground Hire, and I'm like, no, I can't go. And then I feel so guilty that I do go, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, I got to do this work. But when I go, it's like, I get refreshed.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm glad that I went. I'm glad I attended. A couple of times I'm telling Norman, I can't meet with you one-on-one. And it's not like, okay, we'll meet next month. He's like, okay, when are you free next week?
Right. Yeah.
So he's hounding me.
Right.
I can't run away. Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, and then when we meet, it's like, oh man, it's so refreshing because it reminds us that we're human.
Yeah.
It helps us make better business decisions, by going through the program, by having, faith-based, spiritually based advices.
Right. Yeah.
Versus the worldly advice.
Yeah.
Right. Which is our mind, right? And we go through that every day, and I fail every day. But when we go and to these meetings and we go through the monthly contact,
right?
It kind of sets you back and say, what is
what's the most important
thing? Yeah. God, this is God's company, not yours.
right. And that was one of the things I noticed right away when I first came to Ground Hire, was each person, when they would introduce themselves, my name is so and so, and I steward this company, XYZ, whatever. And it's that frame, it's that mindset that I believe is very powerful, to know that whatever God has given to you, you're not holding it with a closed hand, but with an open hand, knowing it's for God to give and take away.
Yeah.
But that's a very hard
hard
mindset to have, because you just want to hold on to everything.
Yeah, sometimes it closes, but you go Ground Hire, opens up again.
Right. And I think part of it too is you get out what you put in, right? Like you talked about the monthly owner meetings where you're coming and it's a 4-hour session, and you say that and it's like, well, who can commit to a 4-hour meeting, once a month to this? And then you have the one-on-ones as well. But really, if you want to know what's very important to somebody, you look at their bank account and you look at their calendar. So what are you prioritizing, right? Like you're telling me you can't prioritize one day where you give 3 to 4 hours of your time dedicated to working on your spiritual walk with God, right? As well as your business, working on the business versus in it. And so I would say the people who have prioritized that, made that a point to get to those meetings every month, commit to that time, be present in those sessions, they probably get a lot more out of it versus someone who's like, that's too much. I think I'm going to have to miss this month. Right. And, as business owners, like that's a classic case of, well, you're just constantly firefighting. You're working in the business versus working on the business. Yeah. So what's some of the things on the business end? From 2009 when you joined the Ground Hire up until now, tell me about some of the key milestones for your business and how it's grown.
Okay. So we're a really small business, and I've seen our competitors, they grow, to a much larger scale and then collapse. Right. So now I got to look at my purpose. Is my purpose to grow and expand? Then I don't have time because I'm going to be too busy, right? Or do I keep it simple? And so I tried growing at one point, like hired a bunch of salespeople and all that. We almost doubled our staff.
Wow.
At one point.
Yeah.
Right. And we got more projects out of it.
Yeah.
But the net profit at the end was like, okay, it's not adding up. Right. Yeah, you get the revenue, but the net.
Yeah.
Right. And now we're like streamlined, really simple. And our profit margin is higher than what we had when we were scaled up.
Yeah.
A lot more than what we were. So what I think my purpose is now is to like be able to help others. Right. And if I don't have the time because I'm too busy growing a business, then I don't think I'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's where, although we're not growing bigger as in numbers in terms of staff, right, we are actually growing more in terms of reaching out to others, right?
Yeah.
So belong to Touch a Heart. I'm on the board there. And
wow. Okay.
Able to help out in that way too. So if I'm too busy running a business, I wouldn't be able to.
Right. Again, that comes back to the point of it. What's the point of making all of this money? Right. And it sounds like the sacrifice of just growing your revenue. Instead, you've traded that for being able to reach others more in the personal relationships and being able to have more reach with Touch a Heart, with being even thank you for your time being a board member with the ground hire, because that's that also takes time.
It is. Yeah,
and so if you had a giant company where you have projects left and right, and then you're time poor, then you wouldn't be able to pour into nonprofits like the ground hire and like Touch a Heart. So I think that also is a key thing of the mindset and the heart behind the ground hire is, hey, like, it actually isn't all about the money. It's more about the impact. It's more about, what are we building for? Is it for your tiny kingdom, your tiny empire of your business, or is it for God's business, for God's kingdom? Yeah.
It's more like ministry in a workplace now.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's another story that I wanted you to touch on, and it was with the core presentation. And so when you join the ground hire, right, there's three things.
Yeah.
You have the one-to-one sessions with your coach. You have the monthly owners meeting with a small group. And you also have a once-a-year core presentation, where in this core presentation, you show the numbers, you show your P&L, right? Everything is just laid open for all of the members to see how your business is actually doing. And then you bring up 3 different issues that you're going through that you would like advice and feedback from. And so I remember your core presentation, because you're at a stage where you are going to acquire another business, right? And it's really to bless your daughter and her husband, to provide them a place where they can work and have something for themselves. And you want to help guide them through that.
That's one. But the main purpose of that was the person who's selling the business. I just bumped into him at church one day and asked him how things going. And he's telling me about his health issue and elderly couple that runs a small business. And he said, I've just been struggling finding a buyer for the company. It's time for us to let it go.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. So so you met them, they go to your church, and you felt strongly that you were supposed to be the one who buys the business.
Yeah, because I don't need enough.
Right.
I don't need, what is enough?
Right.
But then God just place it on your heart, have compassion, love them, maybe help them out.
Yeah.
Right. And, if he provides the needs, then great. So he's been providing the need. I mean, the not the need, but he's been providing the avenue to acquire it. Right.
Yeah.
So
that's another situation where it's like, why am I going to buy this business? I don't need this business. But yet again, God has put it on your heart that, hey, I want you to buy this business from this guy, even though it doesn't make sense in the natural. Right. And it could benefit, give your daughter a business, right? And her husband and all the benefits for that. But really, you don't need this. And it's not like you were seeking it out.
No.
But you felt God leading you towards buying it. And even in the one-on-ones with Norman, he was like, okay, well, what is God saying? And he's encouraged you to follow that lead.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, in the core presentation, the question that you had for the group was, how do I structure the organization, right, with my daughter in this business acquisition? That was the question.
Yeah.
But what all of the guys came back with was, hey, you better watch out.
You better not buy it.
Yeah, you don't buy it. You know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah. And honestly, all of the advice that they gave was really good.
Yeah,
it made sense.
Yeah.
Like, even as somebody who went through a bad business breakup as well, like, everything they were saying made complete sense to me, and it was sound advice. But it wasn't even the question.
It wasn't answering the question.
It wasn't. They just immediately jumped into, I would say, kind of more of a worldly understanding of it, right? Versus like understanding the heart behind why you're doing it in the first place. They completely missed that part.
But you know what? I was so irritated after that. I was like, because the same thing, right? But after you let it go and you pray about it, and then things that they're saying, hey, I better prepare for this.
Yeah.
Right? So it helped me to like understand like certain things that they were bringing up.
Right.
That maybe I need to prepare.
Yeah.
Right? I better prepare my daughter, prepare her husband to make sure they're ready. So he brought that up, and it helped me. So those advices were good after,
right. Yeah,
but during the time, I'm like,
yeah,
answer my question.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I found that so funny, so interesting, because again, it was good advice.
It was good advice,
right? Like they're coming because it's coming from experience, and it's actually coming from a place where they want the best for you, right? So they're trying to cover any blind spots, but it wasn't actually answering the question, right? And again, in hindsight, although you're irritated, I was irritated as well. I was irritated for you. I was like, that's not even the question, guys. But, when you filter everything, understanding that these guys have been with you for over a decade, right? They have your best interest in mind, right? They've walked with you. They've seen certain things, and they just want to make sure you're doing it in the right way. So it's twofold, right? For you to, let's say, get over your pride and irritation and understand what's the heart behind what they're saying. And also for guys, these other guys, as well as myself, to say, hey, this is my limited scope on how I understand business and structuring the organization, especially in the acquisition. But what's bigger than that? Oh, that's right. God has spoken to him. God has been, softening his heart to say, hey, I want you to be the guy to buy this business. So after that, I was on a plane. I was reading an email from Reed. Reed sent me an email after that, and I didn't get to read it right away, so I was reading it on the plane. And what he wrote was so touching, and he nailed it. He's like, "Hey, I could sense some things, right? But follow what your heart is. Follow what God leading you. Some things may not make sense to other people, but I think you're doing the right thing." And that was so refreshing, and I so appreciated hearing that from him. And, right.
Then Norman later on,
he
said, you know what, I didn't say anything because if I did, they would all follow what I say, right?
Right.
Go, okay. Yeah. Because I was like, Norman, you told me it was all good, right?
You threw that in there, right?
Yeah, you told me it was all good, and now you're not backing me up. No.
Yeah, well, and that's true. I think he's he typically goes a little bit more quiet in the core presentations, and for that reason, because he's been in this process with you, talking about it every time, right? So he has a lot more of the finer details and understanding the heart behind everything. Right. And once you said, well, I did talk to Norman about all of this, then the guys, not that they just kind of shut up, but they're like, oh, okay. Well, if Norman's saying that, you walk through this process, then okay, then we trust in that. Yeah. So that was a very, very interesting situation.
And Norman got to meet the couple.
Right.
So
yeah. Okay.
So I went through certain channels to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. And I think that's right. It came up in this last monthly owners meeting where it's like, talking about prophecy and all of that. Well, my first question is, are you in the word every day? Right? Are you renewing your mind? We talked about the helmet of hope, the helmet of salvation, guarding your mind and renewing your mind every day so that you are in line with the word, in line with God's purposes and plans for you. Because if you're not, and if you don't have community around you, Christ-like community around you, then where are you getting your thought patterns?
Right.
And how are you making your decisions? What are you basing it off of? So I guess, in the last 5-10 minutes that we have, what would you say to somebody who is praying about joining Ground Higher? What would you say to them?
So when I first joined, right, the first thing was like, can I afford this? I mean, reality, there's a cost to it, right? And the brother that I had the dispute with, he's actually funded my first year. Wow. Yeah.
What a full circle thing, huh?
I know.
Jeez.
He funded my first year, and then we got into the dispute.
Right.
But I really appreciate him for doing that, and now every year when I used to pay the the fees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, can we afford this?
Mm-hmm.
Now I prepay it.
Yeah.
Before the ending of the year, I just pay it for the whole year, so I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
You know? But the value that I got, and each year I'm thinking, oh, am I gonna make it or not? But God just provides. He provides. And when you go through struggle like COVID, right? And then we get ground hire, and one thing I remember is like going through the struggle. God placed in my heart to help, you know, other people, and when I did that, man, God just blessed. So He kept doing that every year and year. So what I would say is that you know, when I first started running the business, when I joined, I had no idea what a P&L was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a profit, you know, financial statement was. You know, I didn't know how to run a business.
Right.
You know, I came from a facility background, an engineer, and you know, I had no idea how to operate a business. And when they go through financial statements, I'm like, okay, just pretended that I knew, but I'm like, I better learn this thing. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it teaches us that kind of thing, right? So, you know, for me, I gain a lot of value because it helped me to understand how businesses run. You know, gave me the tools to do that. It also gave me the tools to help understand our employees. You know, we went through this Enneagram test, and through that, I was able to like change my thought on how to deal with the employees. You know, by understanding how they tick.
Right.
So, you know, for me, it would be a different business if I was not in ground hire. I think I would be in a worldly business. I would be chasing the money,
right,
instead of chasing relationships or helping others.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you brought up a good point about the cost, because there is a cost. Right. There is a cost. It's the cost of the time investment, right? Committing to the ground hire, going to the one-on-ones, going to the monthly owner meetings. You have the core presentations, but then there's the monthly dues that you pay, or the annual, you know, whether you're doing monthly or annual. And that's $700 a month if you're a $1 million business, or $900 a month if you're a $2 million and up. So that's not cheap, you know, and there are groups that can grow your business for cheaper. There are groups that charge a lot more money and you get more specific tools. But I would say this to anybody who's looking to join ground hire. I would say pray about it. If you feel called to be a part of ground hire, you know, really seek God, because to me, it's more of a calling, right? It's more of a calling, because if it's a calling, He will provide, as you said.
Yeah, He'll provide.
He will provide the funds to come in. He will make that way possible for you. Again, there's so many other groups that you could look at, you can join, but there's something special about ground hire. And I feel like it's because of the people who's in it. They're committed to the higher purposes. They're committed to building God's kingdom, not just their business. Right. That's actually a small fraction of what we really talk about, what we really cover. You know, you have the spiritual aspect, the personal relationships, and yeah, for sure, you're going to grow your business. But there's all these other things that come into play. Is there anything else that you want to leave our viewers with?
Yeah, you know, love one another. That's in when you're dealing with a situation, when you're going through a challenge, let love trump that situation, and give it to the Lord, and see what the outcome gonna be, you know, because God's gonna bless it. You know, might not be immediate, it might be a while, but He's gonna bless that situation, and you're gonna grow from it. And I think God said, you know, we're nobody, you know, we're nothing without love, you know, and I think that's our purpose, is to love others.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, give me the 2-3 liner of your business. Like, what is your business? What do you guys do? Who's the people that you serve?
So we are an energy efficiency company. We're not in the renewable side, but we do help out clients that need renewable energy, but we partner with other companies. But in the efficiency side, we help reduce the energy load of a facility. So, for example, we do lighting retrofit to LED. We do chiller optimization, you know, pumps, motors, smart thermostats for hotels, because hotels, the guests don't stay in the room, right? But the AC is left on.
Right.
With a smart thermostat, when the guest leaves, it sets back the temperature. So, you save energy that way.
Yeah.
We help, hotels, hospitals. Like I said, we're doing the convention center right now. Those are our clients, condominiums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Dante, thank you for joining us today. We have Dante Aragon on our third podcast for The Ground Higher. He is the business owner for EMCC, which is a energy efficiency company. So if you have a condo, if you have a hotel, if you have a large building, and you need help with your energy efficiency, getting those cooling systems sorted, getting the lighting sorted to bring down those costs, then this is the guy to talk to. So thank you, Dante, for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.